Hello, my name is Julian Carriaga, and this is my database final project. So, I did it by myself. This is my idea, and my database is on music. So, pretty much, this database contains a bunch of information like artists, what songs they have, what albums they have, and what genres they are. And it also allows for users to sign into this website and favorite artists and favorite albums. And if you log in as the album, you'll be able to manage the database directly on the website without having to interact with MySQL at all. So this is my ER model, and we can see it's kind of hard to tell here, but users and artists have a many relationship, so that's why we need a table in between them. But artists has a one-to-many relationship with albums, and albums have a one-to-many relationship with songs. So this is my relation model. It's easier to tell. So again, user and artist. So like uh, a user could have multiple favorite artists, and an artist could have multiple users as their favorite. But an artist has a one-to-many relationship with the album. So, for example, an artist can have many albums, but each album will only have one artist. Same thing with album and songs, genre and albums, but users and genres could have a many relationship. For the same reason why user and artist have a many relationship, many to many. So the code I used for the front end, it was mainly coded in HTML with some JavaScript for some functionality, and the templates and general web page layout was from Jinja 2, and the backend was coded in Python utilizing Flask to help with logic and routes. So let's take a look at the website. This isn't my live demo, but I'll just be going over some of the code. This is the homepage, and in order to establish the connection with MySQL, what it does is it sets all this information, the host user password database, into all this information is stored into a .env file for security. That's what the YouTube video I followed said, so I did it. And this is the homepage. So in the homepage, it checks if you are logged in, and if you are logged in, then we set this boolean equal to true, and if your user ID is 9, which is the admin ID, you are also the admin boolean is true. And then if you are not logged in, both of these are false. But if you are logged in but not the admin, this is true, and then this is false. This is important because we can see the code here. It says welcome to the music database. And if you clicked on this URL, the view artist URL, we can see that this will take us to the artist kind of web page. It'll go to this function which opens up the artist web page. And for example, the reason why these booleans are important is because if you're not logged in, then you will see a login button. But if you are logged in, then you'll see a logout button, as you can see here. And then if you're the admin, then you can see this manage database button. So this is some of the front end design. So we can put in, okay. Alright, so this is some of the front end forms. If we wanted to enter like an artist, for example, in here we can put the artist name and the country, or if we wanted to input like an album, for example, we can put the album name, the artist ID, the genre ID, release date, etc. The way this works is this is the HTML for this, and this is the next slide, which is the JavaScript. And the reason why this is important is because essentially what it does is if you have this entry type, if the value is equal to artist, which is this, then all of this information gets disabled, and the website just doesn't look at it. The reason why I needed to do this is I was having some problems. Like if I were to input the artist name and the country, anytime I were to add entry, it would give me an invalid because I didn't put in an artist ID or a genre ID. So I needed to do this in order to be able to actually add the entry properly. And then over here is the Python script to actually add the values in here to the database. So essentially how it works is if the entry type is artist, then we set this variable, we declare a variable, and we set it equal to whatever information is in here is stored in this variable. And the same thing, whatever information is in here is stored into the country. And this was essentially a print statement when I was trying to debug why this add entry button wasn't working. This doesn't do anything, it's just for the terminal. And then if you wanted to insert into the database, we set a connection with the SQL database, and this cursor essentially just allows us to make commands on SQL. And after we click this add entry button, what it does is it runs this command onto SQL, and it inputs the value inside artist name, which is this variable, which is the information here, and the value inside country, which is this variable, which is the information here, and we add it to the database. So this is some way you can look at the database. We can see a list of artists, we can see the artist and then the country, and then we also see the favorite button if you're logged in. Essentially how it works is it again establishes the connection, it executes this line on SQL, which shows all the artists in the database, and this also checks if you're logged in. If you're logged in, you can see this favorite button, and as you can see here, and also this fetch all essentially just puts all the data inside the artist. So if we go on SQL, I already ran the command, which is just basically the select from artist. If we run this command, then we can see all the information that is stored into the artist variable. So the artist is like a tuple that has this information. So for example, artist 1 is this information, which is the name, and when you see the name, you can also click on the name, which leads you to the album. And then artist 2, which is the country, which is this information, is also displayed. As you can see here, we have the artist name and then the country, and then if you click here, you can go to the country. And then an if else statement. If you're logged in, then you'll see a favorite button. If you're logged out, you will see, oh no, sorry. It checks if the artist, so like if this artist is inside the specific user's favorite table. So if you go here, if the artist is inside this table, then you will see an unfavorite. But if the artist is not inside your favorite table, you will see the favorite instead. So that's pretty much kind of like a quick rundown of the code. If you go onto Visual Studio and we can open up the website, this is essentially what you see. Again, you can see the artists, and let's say I want to look at Bruno Mars. We can see these are the 2 albums that Bruno Mars has, and if you click on it, you can see all the songs inside this particular album, and we can see the song and then the artist. And again, we can see the genres. So let's say I wanted to see what was in, like, I don't know, jazz. We can see it's like, oh, these are all the jazz albums. And then if we click on the jazz album, we can see, oh, cool, this is an album by Frank Sinatra. So let's say I wanted to log in. First, let's say I wanted to register. So if we go into MySQL, we can select from user, and then we can see all the users that are already logged in. So let's try to log into any of these, and I'd be able to. So we can go cat, and the password is cat. We can log in, and we can see the favorites that I already have set. But if we wanted to make an account, let's say I wanted to be like my name, which is just Julian, and the password 123, nothing happens because I'm not logged in, or it's not on the database. But if I wanted to add a user to the database, I can register it. And then if we run this command again, we can see I'm now on the database on SQL, and we can log in, and cool. So now we can use the website as intended. Let's say my favorite artist is like Two Door Cinema Club, and I really like Warren Hugh. We can see that I favorited them, and I could also favorite a genre. My favorite genre is alternative, and we can check out that I have my favorite genre, which is alternative. And then if I wanted to log into the admin and actually manage the database, I can. So now that I'm logged in as the admin, I can manage the database. So let's say I wanted to add an artist. An artist I like is called Good Morning, and if we can go to their Spotify, we could actually add this artist. So let's say, I actually think I added this artist already. Hold on, manage database, view in database. Oh, also, you can look at the database as well, because you need to enter some of the album IDs and genre IDs. So this is just a nice way to get a general layout of all the albums and all the IDs. Oh, okay, so I didn't add them. So if I were to go to the home page and let's say I wanted to add this artist, I could go to Good Morning, and the country they're from is, I believe they're from Australia. Yeah, they're from Australia. So if I wanted to say they were from Australia, did I spell that right? Yeah, Australia, I can add them, and then we can see, we can go to the artist, and now they are an artist. And we can also reflect that in SQL, and we can see that they're now there. And then I could also add an album to that artist. So I need to check what their ID is. Whoops. So they are ID 18. And then if I add an album, oh, and I would also need the genre. So let's say I wanted to make the album an alternative, which is 4. I can add the album. Let's see, what album would I like to add? I think we could add this album. So, whoops. The artist is 18, the genre is 4, the release date is 2014, and then the album name is Shawcross. And we can add this entry, and then if we now go to the artist and we look at the album, they have an album now, but they don't have any songs, so we can also add one of the songs. We can manage the database, we can look at the database, we can see what the album is, which is 18, and we can add a song. Let's add Once You Know, which is the album 18. And now, if we go look at it, we can see the song there, which is really cool. And then even if I log out, it'll still be there and I'll still be able to access it. So I'll add back in. And then if I wanted to delete everything, we can. So let's say I wanted to delete the song we just added, we can delete it. And then if we look, we can see it's gone. And then same thing, if we wanted to delete the album, we can. And then now, if we go to the artist, we can see that they no longer have the album. So that's essentially a pretty quick rundown of what this website does. You can, I think I showed everything I needed to. Yeah, we can manage the database directly through the website, and you can also see that the website is being affected. So if you look at album, the album we added is no longer there. So there is an established connection with the website and MySQL, and I hope that was a good presentation, and thank you so much for your time.